Hi guys, it's Ben here, and today I'm going to be walking through the Overpass TryHackMe challenge. This is an easy rated Linux box, and it's quite fun. So yeah, I will share my solution. I've first of all got a nice terminal set up, got the IP copied, so I can do some scans to begin with, an initial numeration to figure out what ports are open. So I'm going to make directories recon and exploits. I'm going to cd into the recon directory. I'm going to make directories mmap, and I'm going to cd into the mmap directory. I'll just paste the IP in there. I'm going to start off with the full port scan, covering all the ports. T4 for a little bit speedy output, and I'm going to output this to full tcp.txt. You would have noticed I haven't done a TACSV or TACSC or any of the more thorough scans, thorough switches to give more detail. This is just a quick scan so I can see what ports are open, and it has returned, and then I will go in deeper by specifying now that I want SV TAC SC TAC O for operating system enumeration, and this will be a thorough TCP scan. And I need to be sudo for that, as I always forget. There we go. So yeah, this just does a version scan, so it verifies that these are actually the services which are being ran by probing them a bit more, and it will also tell you the version of the service. So here we can see SSH is the OpenSSH, which is running this SSH server, and for the HTTP it looks like there's a Golang net HTTP server. I hadn't really seen this before. But at least we know there is an endpoint, a web endpoint to investigate. So let's go to this endpoint. And we can see welcome to Overpass, a secure password manager with support for Windows, Linux, macOS and more. So there's an About Us page, and we see there's the staff members here, and there's also a downloads page where you can download the source code, the build script, and the different binaries for this password manager. So let's do some directory enumeration, see if there is any other directories than the ones we're given. I do want to note I didn't look at the source code, but we can see, look, there's this main.js. So you could investigate this. It says console log hello world. Can't speak today. But yeah, like I was saying, I'm going to do some directory enumeration to fuzz directories to see is there anything else which is not hidden, which is hidden. Sorry. So I'm going to make directories web, cd into web, and I'm going to do fuff user share word lists, sec lists, discovery, web content, and I'm going to use the directory list small, and I'm going to change the IP here. Let's paste that in there. Let's just double check we do get a 404 not found error, because that will allow us to sort of filter out, and we do get like a 404 HTTP response code. So some web servers, they don't actually give you this HTTP 404 response. It sort of says not found, so you'd maybe have to do a different method for filtering. So I always like to confirm that the response code is 404 when we go to a non-existent directory. I will run that there, and we can see there's this admin directory, which we didn't see before. This wasn't in the source code for either of the pages, so this is sort of something we've discovered by fuzzing, and we can go to this. And there's a administrator area login, so we could obviously start off by doing like some basic. Is it going to be a quick win? Is it default credentials? Admin. Doesn't look like default credentials. About administrator admin. Okay, administrator password. Admin password. It doesn't look like this is going to be an easy quick win with default credentials either. We could try some SQL authentication bypass like this, and see if this works. That doesn't look to work either. If I wanted, I could investigate that a bit further, but instead of going down that rabbit hole, I looked at the source code, and we can see there's this login.js and this cookie.js. If you look at this, this looks like an actual package, like a open source cookie.js package. It's also obfuscated. I don't want to go into that. This login.js is interesting though. So it basically sets up the function that when we actually press this login button, it posts it to this endpoint. And the endpoint in question I'm talking about is, so when we send the post request, we send it to, did that work? Okay, for some reason I can't see it. It is actually, and I'm sure it will say it in here somewhere. Yeah, it posts it to this /API login with the credentials here. So the credentials are just the username and password in this sort of like JSON, I guess. Yeah. So it posts it to there. And then there's this status or cookie. So if the response text contains or is equal to this incorrect credentials, then it will display that on the screen. However, if that isn't the case, so if it's not incorrect credentials and you've got the correct credentials, it will set this session token to equal this status or cookie, and then it will redirect to this admin endpoint. So there's this session token. We don't know what this cookie value should be, but let's just try spoof one. Let's just create our own session token, and let's just set it, for example, to 1, right? Let's see what happens when we refresh this. Refresh now, such that we've set this session token. So it does set it to it if you get the correct credentials. We don't know what the cookie is, but we're setting it ourselves and guessing maybe 1 will let us in. And it does. So we've guessed that session token, we've authenticated in, and we've got this RSA private key. We can see it is encrypted, so we're going to have to crack this little text here. Since you keep forgetting your password, James, I've set up SSH keys for you. If you forget the password for this, crack it yourself. So it does give you a hint there. We do have to crack this. But I will copy this. I'm going to go echo. And I'll paste this in here. That is not what I wanted to paste. I wanted to paste this here in there, like so, and then I'm going to pipe this out to our ID RSA. So if we just cat ID RSA, that is the SSH private key. We do need to make some changes to this because SSH on Linux will not let you use an SSH key if there are certain permissions on it. They want only the user account to have access to it, not other user or other groups. So basically, we're going to change the permissions of this. So now only my user has read-write access. If we did it before, it would deny it basically. And just for example, it does say James, so we can sort of take a guess that this is a James user we're trying to authenticate as. So ID RSA. The user is James, and the IP address is. There we go. And I do want to show, for example, so we can say yes, I trust this. It asks for the passphrase for this SSH key because it is encrypted in the first place. We don't have that, however, we can find it out by cracking it. So we can use SSH2John, so this will create a hash from the ID RSA key, encrypted key we have. And now we have this hashed version of the key. We can crack this hash with John. So we can say John hashed SSH key. Format is going to be SSH, and the word list I'm going to be using is the RockQ word list. I do want to say this may not work as I've already done it in the past, so it may just say, yeah, loaded one password hash, no password hashes left to crack, because I've already cracked it. If you were doing this yourself, it wouldn't say that, it would begin to crack it. So as I've already cracked it, I can show it with this, so show, and I'm just going to pipe this output into SSH key pass. So there we go, cat SSH key pass. We can see the passphrase to the SSH encrypted SSH key is James13. So we can now SSH on again. It's asking for us for the passphrase. We can enter James13, and we're in. We've got initial access via SSH. There is the user.txt flag there, and there's also this to-do.txt. So I'm just going to show. I'm not going to open it because I don't want to spoil the flag. But look, I'm just showing I have access to open this flag, and I do. Let's open this to-do.txt. This may give some context on where we have to go next. So update overpass encryption. Muirland has been complaining it is not strong enough, that it's not strong enough. Write down my password somewhere on a sticky note so I don't forget it. Wait, we make a password manager. Why don't I just use that? Test overpass for macOS. macOS builds fine, but I'm not sure it actually works. Ask Paradox how he got the automated build script working and where the build goes. Okay, so there's this build script, an automated build script. Okay, that's interesting, right? We need to sort of investigate this and try to find this build script, because that could be quite useful to us. Let's do some basic enumeration, like do I have any sudo capabilities? I don't know the password. Let's just see, is it James13? It's not James13, okay. I'm not going to try any other. We can see if there are any suid binaries. This is just the initial enumeration I would do once I've got access to a box, just to see if we've got any quick easy wins. I do want to remember that there was that automated build script, so we can investigate that, but let's just cross off all the boxes before we start looking for this build script. So we've got a load of suid binaries here. However, I don't think any of these I don't think they can be exploited for privilege escalation. I would encourage you, if you weren't sure, just to look these up on GTFO bins, as that would confirm that for you. Let's see if there are any cron tabs. So does James have any cron tab? Like this, does the James user have any cron tabs? No. Are there any system-wide cron tabs which we can see? If you cat etc cron tab, that will show these. And there are. It's commented to say update builds from the latest code, and then there's this build script. So this is the thing we were on about earlier in the notes, and it's run under the user root, which shows we could possibly exploit this, right? And get privilege escalation to root. That would be quite nice. How do we do this? How do we exploit that? I'm not sure yet. So what I first did is just downloaded this build script onto my box to see if I could sort of exploit the build script somehow. So let's just go back out of here into exploits. Let's just wget this from the IP, which I'm not sure if I've still copied it. So there we go. Download this. Downloads source build script.sh, and it's down here. We can cat this out just to have a look. Okay, so it's sort of building this Overpass Linux, outputting it to this overpass.go, and then it's echoing builds completed. So I first said, is there any ways we can exploit this script? I thought are any of these paths, do we have write access in these paths? So perhaps when this gets run as a cron tab, can I change any of these paths? This is being run under the user root, and it's automatically this character here, tilde. Can I go echo tilde? So it automatically says the home directory is equal to the home directory of the current user. That would be in root's case this. So if, for example, just for demonstration purpose, sudo if I did this echo, it would just be the root directory. So if I let's just exit this. Am I not in the right directory? Sorry. Let me just go back to where I was. cd exploits. Cat this out again. So a lot of this stuff here, we can't change any of these. It outputs it to root. And I also did check this directory here, so we can see, look, do we have any, if I cd to this directory here, we can see there's this go binary. Perhaps we could change this go binary. We can't. We've only got read and execute privileges, so we can't do a lot with this build script alone. However, if you go back to the cron tab, we can see it curls it from this overpass TryHackMe domain. So perhaps we could try trick this cron tab into not actually downloading from this domain and downloading from a domain of my choice, being my IP. So I could trick this to resolve to my IP. Not trick, I would change something in the Linux box. Let's see if we have write access over etc hosts file, right? We do, it's owned by root, but look, we have read write access over this file, so we could purposefully change the hosts to redirect to my IP instead. So let's do that. vi etc hosts, and we can see there's these two domains, overpass.tryhackme, that is the one it references. So I can change this to 10.14.54.171. Right quick, just to check if we ping overpass.tryhackme, you see it now pings my IP address here, which is, I can see my ton0 VPN IPs up there, so we know that is working. What I want to do now is, because if I cat etc cron tab, it references download source build script. I can create my own build script, but I first need to create these directories that it will reference. So what I'm going to do is make directories downloads, cd into downloads, make directory source, cd into source, and build script. So to get privilege escalation, I could do a lot of things. It gets really creative here. I could, for example, the script could contain a thing to add my user James into the root group or the sudoers group. That would work fine. However, a nice way to do this is just do a reverse shell. It's simple, it's easy. We can just copy a reverse shell like this, and I want to check all of that's right. My IP is right, the ports are right. I can get listening on this one, so I'll listen on that port there, and I'm going to vi build script.sh again. I'm going to paste that there, and now I'm going to go back up to this directory, and I'm going to get a HTTP server running on port 80, and I'm going to wait. This should hopefully eventually, if I zoom out this bit, this should hopefully, when it curls this, it will curl my domain, and it will download this file from my domain. So we'll see if this works. It may take a little while. If not, we can always play around and try troubleshoot what's going wrong. We could always go like this and see if this works. Downloads, source, build script. Okay. so it isn't finding it. So it was buildscript.sh, and as I said that, it did actually download correctly, and I do have a reverse shell here, so I can go ls, and I'm in the root directory. Obviously I can do id, you can see I am root, and the root flag is there, with read-write access for only root. So we have gotten both the flags now, and this challenge is solved. So I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you on the next one.